Congratulations, huh? No, that's him when he was in the military, when he was a Marine. Hoorah. Congratulations, Dwight Mad Dog Mattox, hired 10/26/1981, 42 years of service. Dwight Mattox was a man of many hats: a lineman, a restoration specialist, a chief job steward, union president, LJAC, DJSC, the system council president, switching instructor, control center dispatcher, and a yard dispatcher. And they left out some things because he had a personal life too. He's a husband, he's a father, and a grandfather. And he wore all those hats, and he did it with true pride and true grace, and he lived up to that name up there. So something we like to do is we do an employee spotlight at the employees here. And Dwight Mad Dog Mattox, his first job at FPL, he was a helper. He did 42 years with the company. His main hobbies were fishing and hunting. He went to Miami Northwestern High School.
Yay!
Watch it.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that too, but
Watch it.
His birthplace was in Miami. His favorite part of the job was teaching, training, and being a role model. One thing that most people don't know is he loves to spoil the grandkids. And that's surprising because he didn't give us nothing. We had to work for everything. But you can't do nothing to them. We can't even discipline our grandkids. And he was, if you know him, he was super tough. But he is very soft for the grandkids. I asked him if he would leave us a safety message, and this is one of the things that he always said. He said that the company and the union disagree on a lot of things, but the one thing that they agree on is safety. And that's why you see that everything with the company and the union and safety is all joint. Some pictures of his kids and grandkids and his wife, son-in-law. Some of the things that you need to consider when you hang up your hooks in your harness. Your service shines through by applying and pouring yourself into this trade. You've positively impacted numerous residences and businesses. You've been an example to many by your work ethic and integrity. Reaching back, you've brought others along through training, guiding, challenging, and leadership. All could see your heart through your inspired work for the cause that you've done with the United Way. The standards have changed, pole lines and equipments have been updated, but what you brought to this trade and this property will continue to impact us long into the future. Thank you for your service. Oh, that's him with his granddaughter. She's sitting over there. She was a little baby back then. You conquered this. You've conquered the difficulties and challenges that came with the titles helper, lineman, foreman, and RS, all the way to the system council president. You conquered the broken poles, feeder wire downs, transformer changeouts, broken disconnect switches, wire pulls, and union issues, etc. You've conquered the teaching role by taking over switching class and making it personal to you. You were an iconic figure in the union and made sure everyone was held to higher standards. The Dwightisms. So if anybody knows him, this first one and it is his favorite, and it's always followed by your name. God damn it, Rooster! The other thing he said about FPL is the standard at FPL is everything is different. One of the things he told me in switching school, I made a mistake, and he said, you're gonna build yourself a fire that you can't put out. And when he was in switching school, he would be teaching you, and one thing he would always say, you get it, you get it, you get it. He wasn't gonna move on until you got it. He wanted to make sure that you got everything that he was trying to teach you, because he understood that what we do is very dangerous. His other favorite saying is, I want my money and my life to end at the same time. He ain't leaving nothing to none of us.
He used to say that all the time.
In switching school, when he would get a class, he would tell the students, I'm not here to waste the company's money or waste your time. So we're going to learn, and this class is for you. And lastly, if it ain't right, it's wrong. Dwight, Mad Dog, what they called him back in the day, aka Big Papa, and of course you see him there with the grandkids. Hobbies and favorite pastimes, he loved fishing, he loved hunting. He always said, a bad day of hunting beats a good day at work.
Hey, why Mad Dog though?
Mad Dog? I let some of the old timers, when they speak about it, they can tell you why they call him Mad Dog.
Yeah.
But you can only assume, right?
Only assume, that's it.
Enjoy your time. Now is the time where you get to do more of this. You get to spend more time with your family, with your grandkids, with your friends. Yeah. You get to really cherish all the things that you had to give up over those 42 years. Those call-outs you worked, the hurricanes, the long hours. This job is very demanding, and it takes away a lot of time from your family. He had to miss out on a lot of things, so now you get to enjoy all of that. And here we got some more pictures here. Next slide, Vincent. This is your time. This is not an ending, but a beginning of a new and awesome chapter of great stories. Retirement only means that it's time for a new adventure. Your legacy. It's not just a thing of getting up and showing up, because that's just the minimum. But it's about what was done once you got here. You stand-up guy that took care of business and made sure everyone around you did the same. The jokes, the laughter, the good times, the unique teaching was all much appreciated and will be missed. You were always willing to teach and make sure people understood what was taught. Your legacy here at FPL and for the IBW will never be forgotten.
I would like to thank Dwight's family. Without your support, there's no way Dwight could have performed 110% every day. Like, being a president of the local is honestly a thankless job. It never stops. It always keeps going. And without the family support, like I said, there's no way Dwight could have performed the way he did. And I agree with everything that was said. Dwight was and is the best president our local has ever seen. Dwight came in at a time where we needed the president that he was. He was able to turn our local around. We are where we're at today because of what Dwight has done for us. And he honestly makes it easy for me to be president because of all the foundations he's laid down for me. So on behalf of Local 359, we'd like to present you a watch for all your years of service.
Just to let you all know, we started the company in 1981, same year. Mine 615. I came straight out of high school. Well, I did my apprenticeship with Dwight. We were apprentices together, and when I made lineman, we made the same year. And he went to West Aid, but I didn't know he wanted to be an instructor. I told him and say, listen, Dwight, I don't want no switching school. I don't want to do none of that stuff. I just want to be a lineman, be a foreman. I'm good with that. And Dwight kept saying, no, you're going to do what I tell you. You're going to be in switching school. I said, no, I'm not Dwight. Everybody that knows him, you ain't going to win an argument with him. So let's just be real about it. But the good thing about it, I got through the switching school, struggled. He said, anytime you need help, he said, I don't care what time of day or night, call me, I'll help you. And I look around, he's actually the first African American trendsetter for 359. For those that don't know that, he's the first. And from that, you can look at his son and look at the other guy. We have a lot of respect for him.
What other guy?
Rodney Williams. Hold on. Listen. Rodney Williams.
The other guy.
Because the other guy, because I say that because Dwight was the first, and I call Rodney number 2. And everybody knows Rodney Williams is a hell of a switching instructor. So we just want to say thank you. And my last note, I didn't plan this here. I didn't know this here. Listen, on my last note, I sit down. I didn't plan this here, but Dwight daughter and his son actually went to school. Unfortunately, y'all went to Carroll City, so I ain't gonna say nothing about it. They all went there together.
Yo, me and Dwight came up together. Me, Dwight, Timmy, we all came up together. And Mel. Mel, did you do your apprenticeship for lineman at Northwest, or you did it here? Okay, because you was a meterman. You went meterman first. Okay. With that being said, we all came up together. And the thing about Dwight, what I admire the most, he had to go beyond the call of duty. Meaning, what I'm trying to say. He would come to me and he'd say, Rod, what size die you need for number 2? I say, Dwight, I don't really need to know that. I can get that information off the die. Right off the connector. Dwight knew every connector from 301 all the way up to Highline by heart. By heart. That's amazing. All the way up to Highline. I say, Dwight, I don't have that kind of memory you got. Me and him was in the military. And in the military, they had what they call your 12 general orders. I couldn't remember them when I was in the military. This man was in the military almost 50 or more years ago, and he still know all his general orders. He had a mind that wouldn't quit. And I always admired him for that. When we was at Central Yard, Dwight Mattox was speaking a language we didn't understand. Nobody understood paralleling transformers. Nobody understood demagnetizing, magnetizing. When he got up to speak, I was literally scratching my head. What is he talking about? Now we all speak that language. And it's because of this man here. We all speak that language. Because I'm telling you, it was happening because we were burning down vaults because people didn't understand what demagnetizing was. He knew it. He knew everything about the power company. And I always admired him for that. I always. And you might think this sounds childish. I wanted to be like Dwight. I wanted to be like Dwight because that's how much he influenced me. He didn't just influence me, he inspired me to be like him. What you hear coming out of my mouth, a lot of times that's Dwight Mattox. He taught me a lot. I love this man. He taught me a lot. And sometimes, man, you just got to give credit where credit is due. He the man. And he will always be the man. And every time I'm teaching a class, I always bring up his name. I say I had a good teacher, Dwight Mattox. That's exactly what I say. People like him don't come about probably once every 50 years or so. And you ask me, they got a wall over there at TMC with all the VPs. He should be on that wall also. He should be on that wall. But he inspired a lot of people, and he brought a lot of people up, and he gave us understanding. The understanding that we did not have. and I applaud him for it. And I respect you, brother. And I always love you. You're my boy. Dwight Mattox. One of the very best guys. The best that ever did it. My name is Gene Boo.
She never leaves.
You know me, don't you, bro? How far you know me? Way back in Sugar Hill, Liberty City, we grew up together.
Sure, hell.
Way back. Dwight was one of the smartest dudes I ever knew back then. He was always helping. In the neighborhood, people like Dwight and ourselves, we try to help people who didn't know things to know things. Even now, in this company, it was the same way. We wanted our neighborhood to teach people who wasn't scared to learn, who was afraid of the police back then and other things. They kept them off the police often by making them learn how to do weights or teaching them different things. We went to school, same school, Northwestern. And Dwight was always quiet to me, but just to watch a man who's smart, you want to learn from him. So I admired him a lot, and I learned from him how to treat people, to care about his people. He has a big heart. Even though he can be really rambunctious, can't he, man? Stubborn. Always was stubborn, but a good stubborn. Making people know that they, should learn something and be an additive to their community, to make them stand up. Ain't that right, D?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I hear you, man. Been a partner a long time. He was at Northwest, I was at Northeast. Here we are, FNL workers, same place again. Very nice to see people like him who out here and gave people knowledge of how to deal with their life, also deal with their jobs. It's a proud thing for me to speak for Dwight. It's so much Dwight done. People here are saying that now. But the most thing he done was to have a big heart for the people in his neighborhood, to raise his neighborhood up. And anybody, it wasn't a color thing to him. It was a human thing to him. And I appreciate people like that because it taught me to watch smart people like that so I'll be able to do a human thing. So thank you, Dwight. Thank you for your part. Thank you for everything.
Still awake after all this?
How you doing? How you doing?
I heard you weren't listening to your doctor, so I had to come out.
It is.
My goodness.
I had to come out to get you right.
Hey, listen. This is the best doctor. My personal doctor. This is Dr. Powell. We're going to put
Don't do that now. Don't we do that now. I came because, how long we been together? 20 years?
more than
More than
20.
20 years.
More than 20 years.
And you guys got lucky because I've been telling him to retire for as long as I've known him.
Yes.
From as long as I've known him, I said, you work too hard. No, I gotta get back to work. Out the hospital, going back to work. I'm set back with his condition, back to work. I said, you gotta retire. He said, no. You lucked out with a man like this. And from everything that I heard, it was his pleasure to do this work. You know, I always talk about being on mission. As a physician, I've always been on mission. And when you get a higher calling, it comes in many ways. And Ms. Mattox been on mission because when someone says, forget my health, I gotta get back to the work. And it wasn't the work he was talking about. It was the people. And by the show of everybody here, I see why you wouldn't retire earlier. You know, so I had to come today because I had to see why he wouldn't listen to his doctor. Why every time he wouldn't listen? Because he loves this work. He loves you guys. And I just had to give him the honor because of the amazing work you've done all these years. And I'm glad you didn't retire when I tried to get you to.
Thank you, Doctor.
But now I need you to behave. Finally have him listen to something I say.
Okay, speaker. I want to talk about the one thing no one else has said about this man. He loved to volunteer you for something. And a lot of times, he forget until the day it's supposed to be done or the day before. Oh yeah, Cap, I forgot to tell you. You are now the voting judge. And I said, how long is it going to be? Oh, it's just 3 nights. For that vote. 17 years later, I was still voting judge. But he will volunteer you. Love you, man. Be good and be blessed.
Love you too.
All right.
Everybody know me as Motive. I remember when I came here, FPL 2007, and we have switching class. It was him and Rodney. So coming from the islands, we don't have URD much there. There's a special place like for the airport, you know. But like for throw systems, them things like a foreign to me. So I remember when it took us down to Central into a vault. You know, when him pull the door and him go in and him show us, as Rusa said, you get it? We never just answer, yeah. But as I said, it was like foreign to us, like to me, really. And we went to the powerless school. So, well, when you switch it on to throw, you have 25 seconds to get out. And you gotta count. So, yeah, sound to the man. But we still don't know, I have to follow him still. But him a count. 10, 11, 23, listen for it, 24, yeah, boom! The transfer. So I said, rotted. The man didn't know him, I say. Not knowing that he been doing this a long time. So that's how I was introduced to the Trover system, and I really see it work. And then the next one now, when AFS came on the property, so anytime we have any switching thing, him me call, you know. So one day we have a wire down on Biscayne Boulevard, Northeast 135th Street feeder. And then the AFS just started to go up in the system. No one knows much about it. So I was doing the switching order, so the dispatcher sent me to the AFS to move it to remote, from remote to local. So I'm there looking, I don't see nothing like that name. So I called Dwight. I said, Dwight, so yeah, Motive. I said, but AFS here to switch out and I don't know him. Said, man, I don't know much about that either, Motive. But let me call somebody. Miami 8014. So stand by Miami, because them waiting on the thing to operate. But I didn't know nothing about it. Was waiting on Dwight. Come back like about 25 minutes later. Say, Motive, you're gonna switch it from ready to lock. To open and lock. And I say, okay. So hold on, let me write. So I start write it down. And that's how I know to operate the AFS that day. So for switching, it was all Dwight. As Rodney says, his knowledge was wide. And every training school, every new hire, you have to come through Rodney and Dwight hands. And for that, sir, I have to say thanks. Although they won't pass me for the F-16, but you know, I'm still there, you know. Because he always says, yeah, you are the F-16s. But I'm just a Cessna, guys, but I still fly. You know, I still fly. But those thanks to Dwight.
Okay, I'm Fred Dykes, and Dwight and I go back a ways. But right now, I want to just say something. I just got to take that James Dean died.
James Roberts?
James Dean. He was Yeah, he died Sunday. Yeah. I was sitting there, I got the text from his son James. So he passed away. So don't have something for him. Minor Strings Lions Club, Saturday, May 4th, if anybody want to go. So I just got up walking up here. Yeah. And this guy here, we go back a long way. I'm going to tell you a little story. Now, Dwight and we had the boys around the house. We cooking up some venison and stuff like that. So I've got to go and say, Dwight, taste it, see how it is. Taste it, see a bit more pepper. Man, it was so high, I can't now. I got to come up front. But in other words, I really appreciate this guy. Like they were saying, everybody was saying, he has a photographic memory. We were going on a trip deer hunting in Alabama. So he was going to pay for the gas, so he gave me a credit card. He said, wait, is it that 7427344? I said, yeah. He said, no, I don't want to use that one. He gave him, just 741, what? Like, how you remember that? But in a long story, I really appreciate it. And he's type of guy, whatever he get into, he's deep in it. And he go all the way with it, no shortcut. And one thing he didn't tolerate is bad apprentices. Yeah. Now, I know one you gave a hell to for a long time. And then we want to go fishing on your big boat. Get your own boat.
Get your own boat.
Get your own boat. But we had some good times and everything. But
Get your own
I
boat.
appreciate you. I love you, man, dearly, with all my heart. And let's get together and do something. If it ain't right, we'll do it. Okay?
Hi, Jeff.
I ain't gonna tell you what he calls me, Jeff. You know, never liked Dwight because he always called me that. I started at Northwest. That was with Dwight, Tim, Mel. J.C. Ward, Freddie Dykes was my boss, believe it or not. And if he says he was bad, you don't want to work with him. That's right. And he's not gonna do nothing anyway. You're gonna carry all your tools, you're gonna climb the pole, you're gonna do the work, and he's gonna call you that same thing, he call you with that A thing all day. That's their favorite word, really. But man, Dwight, I ran from you from Northwest, I left that yard. Dwight, Prince, I was a bad dude, fresh out of the military, built like Mike Tyson. Prince Taylor, Dwight Mattox, they made me leave Northwest because they wouldn't step down from my challenge against them. They was like me, we didn't have the fear, so we bumped. But man, it's a long time ago. I look around, man, let me first say what I thought in my head. To you young guys, I thank God when I see all these guys I started with 40 years ago. They look good. Nate, Mel, Gene, it's amazing. You know what I'm saying, Bill? God is good. That's what we give a hand to. We still here. Hurricane Andrew. We watched our friends leave here on Hurricane Andrew. We did some work that some of y'all never see in your lives. We did some work. Our body took some beating, didn't they, Dwight? We beat ourselves to do our job. Y'all got it easy. But man, all of us, even though you failed me in switching class, no, he said you got it, I ain't got it. If you ain't got it, he gonna fail you. Until you understand you ain't gonna challenge you, you gonna get it. Because you're not gonna get hurt because of him. That was his reason. Until you figure that out, he ain't gonna quit on you. He just gonna make you learn. Man, love you, appreciate you. If you ever need me, your wife know who I am now. I'm good with some CRC and stuff. And I can hit it one time, it opens, I'm good. But anyway, love you, Dwight, man. Your son's just as good as you. I can't stand him either. I can't stand him, you good. But I love you. I love you, man. I pray for you. You know I'm always here.
Well, let me say this to you, Jeff.
See, y'all know he know that he won't say what he usually say though. Say it the way I love the way he used to say that.
Well, I'm going to say it to you.
No, your kids here.
I trained my son right.
Yes, you did.
If it ain't right, it's wrong. That was on the board.
That's right.
I tell him, listen, you train him right, and if he don't get it, you fail him. It ain't personal, it's just business.
That's right.
You gonna appreciate him because he's gonna teach you right, or he's gonna fail you. And then once he fail you, you do it again, and when you get it right, he'll pass you, and then you'll be okay.
But anyway, this is what we say legacy. Everybody, not even the ones that ain't even here, the knowledge he gave us is amazing. There's few that can do that. Gene had his special thing, but what this man gave us kept us alive. Because there's people that didn't want to give it to us back in them days. So he made sure we got it. And I tell him, thank you, man. God bless you.
Thank you. Now here's the piece. Here's the piece that I left out. I didn't want to speak too much because I had 4 strokes in 1 month. So I can't speak that well, but I'm getting better every day. But I had 4 strokes in 1 month. And I've been in the hospital almost 2 months. And I just got out of the hospital not too long ago. But I really didn't want to speak. But since I'm speaking, I'm on a subject that I'm speaking, and I'm speaking now. And as you can hear, my speech is not perfect, but I'm speaking as good as I can. But while Jeff is up here, one thing that I appreciate with all of my brothers and sisters, anytime I need some help, I can call any one of them and they will come by and they will help me when I need help. That's right. And I appreciate it. And that's all I have to say.
I wanted to say my introduction to Dwight was in switching class as a new supervisor. And he had me be his, he liked to ride in the HOV lane. So I was his designated passenger so he could be in the HOV lane. And I told him in the beginning, I said, I'm not getting this stuff. Maybe this isn't for me. And I took the first test and he was grading the test and he said, roll. And I was like, oh Lord. I went up to his desk and he said, let me see this. Does this make sense? Does this really make sense to you? So he worked it through. And by the end of the class, I kind of got it. I understood. And I said, I think this is going to be too hard for me, right? And he said, you can do it. Have confidence in yourself. And it's because of him I pursued the PL role. Because he said, one thing about it, if you learn the book, you'll be okay. No matter what the guys say to you, no matter how they treat you, if you know the book and you do right, it will always come back to you. So I appreciate you. I love you.
Charles Kepler.
Cap.
I'm a senior line out of Gulfstream. Well, Dwight and I played football and baseball, and I used to sleep at their house a lot when I was a kid. And what I didn't know at the time is when he got off work, it was probably a 16 or 24-hour shift at that time. We used to get in trouble a lot. We'd hear, God damn it. Will you kids quiet down? I'm trying to sleep. Fast forward 21 years, when I was 21 years old, I was working at CompUSA. I was married, had a 1-year-old, and my daughter was pregnant. He came in and he said, "What are you doing? That's not how you provide for your family. You need a career." I said, "Apply for FPL." I applied for FPL. Next thing you know, he's calling me. He said, "Hey man, got a cast test, got your interview." Calls me back on a Friday and said, "What are you doing Monday?" I said, "Dwight, I don't know. I'm supposed to go on a family reunion." He goes, "No, you're not. You're going to climbing school. A position open and I got you in." I said, "Okay, going to climbing school." I'm 19 years in now, and I've been trying to be the best union brother I can be. I've been trying to be the best employee I can be because I represent him. He put his name out there for me. My family and I are truly grateful. I have a great career and a great family. It's all right.
I mentioned 2005. Actually, I think it was 85. When I got to the yard, I was going to take that sign off the truck. But anyway, Dwight, piggybacking on what Rodney said, Dwight know things that he ain't supposed to know. I'm a substation electrician. That lineman thing wasn't cut out for me. After the 5th time, hey, hold on, wait a minute. All you new linemen, you linemen from the last, that butt squeeze and all that stuff, y'all ain't no real linemen. So get your mind right now.
Tell them what a real lineman do, Bill 40.
Real linemen go up a pole with nothing on it, with 45 class 3 pole.
And then what you tell Jeff?
I ain't going up there. After the 5th time I failed, that's it. Anyway, that's not why I'm here. I went to substation, but we're a little bit smarter than linemen over there. So, me and Dwight used to get into it all the time about substation protection schemes. He's a lineman. So he's telling me about schemes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He's telling me about auto restoration. He's telling me what happens when the regulator locks out. What's first, the part pressure relay or the AR system? I'm saying, what the hell do you know about that? You know, and I found out I couldn't BS him because he was just as thorough with outside the fence as he was inside the fence. I never met any lineman that knew what he knew, you know. And my first night spending the night on the job, you were a lineman. I think I was a truck serviceman, and Stubby was the foreman. And we worked, you guys were hitting transformers, everything wild up there. And I'm 22 years old. I'm saying, man, when we going home? Get on the truck. Right, when we going home? Get on the truck. Follow the tail lights, you know. And then he said, when all the water gone, we going home. So it's about 8 o'clock in the morning. I had one more transformer left on the truck. And I went to the water keg, no water. I looked in it, all the water was gone. Ice, everything. So I started picking up the cones. Time to go home. What the hell are you doing? We got this transformer to change, so that's his work ethic. No stop, all go, all night. I'm 22 years old. I could barely keep my eyes open, but these guys did what they had to do. But don't you think you know more about me than substance? All right? Congratulations, man. Love you. Love you. My dad in overtime, I come to find out our families had some ties. My dad shined shoes, I think, in your grandfather's shop over town.
Right.
And then when my old man knew your family, I told him after that night, I said, this old dude, man, he rode me hard. He said, Dwight Mattox? He said, yeah. He said, keep your mouth shut and listen to him. He's gonna say that. Love you, man.
Greetings, everyone. Hi, good evening. Hi, Dwight. Hi. Most of you probably don't know me. I'll be really quick. I have a couple of things I could share. My name is Rachel Moore. I'm a family with Graham, so I don't get to know Dwight the way you guys do. But I wanted to, since I have to go back to work, I needed to get up here and to get a chance to speak to him. so I can go. So I also have to share something so I can get up here. So this is my ticket up here. How you doing?
I'm doing well.
So Dwight has been one of Graham's most solid friends, like a really high quality person. I don't know him the way you guys do, but I always knew he was so smart and one of the authenticity and just solid quality person. And so I remember early on when Graham would mention him, at some point he let me know his job role, his job title. And whatever it was exactly, I don't know if he said lineman or if he trained linemen, but it translated to me that Dwight goes up on these light poles. And I remember thinking about the light pole and thinking about Dwight and not understanding the part about the bucket. And trying to picture and just figure out how is Dwight getting up these poles. And I don't know how long it took me, I don't want to say it was years, but I don't know how long I passed light poles and tried to imagine that Dwight could climb these poles. Before I realized that there was a bucket that would take him up. So from a customer's perspective, that lets you guys know that we don't know what's going on. I know that what he does saves lives, and as I was back there listening, I said, wow, and somebody finally said it. Somebody said he kept us alive. But before that person said that, I was back there thinking, wow, it really seemed like he saved lives with the education that he gave you guys. Lastly, I'm in a union, and I'm at a point where I really need my union. I remember overhearing all the time different conversations. Sometimes Graham would be talking about the union, sometimes really talking about Dwight's leadership in the union. And at that time, I wasn't necessarily heavy in a union. I maybe didn't really understand how major that was, although I could really appreciate it, because sometimes I would, just overhearing Graham, I would kind of feel like they're negotiating, but then sometimes it seems like they're going up against each other. But I remember feeling like I'm kind of siding with Dwight a lot of the time. I really liked hearing how he fought for you guys, and now that I really need something like that, I even have a higher value for it, because I really wish I had somebody in my situation right now fighting for me like for that. So thank you for what you've done for your people and your team. I know how much it has meant for you guys because of how much I really need that. So I think it's a big deal. Maybe one day. Oh, and right now, his son, I haven't called bothering you because of your everything you're dealing with. But like you guys said, he taught Dwight a lot, and he has shared some things with me and really helped me. So with that said, I'd like to thank each of you for hearing me and allowing me to share and be a part of this. I'm glad I was invited, and I want to congratulate you and wish you the best on your next adventure.
Okay.
What's up, man? Oh, Dwight, this the man, y'all. This legendary. This really the guy. If it wasn't for you, man, I would have never got hired. So let me tell y'all the story. So we had a 3-week climbing school, right? And for some reason, I couldn't get it. It was bad. I could not climb wooden poles. And it was so bad, I remember sitting in a porta potty crying because I told my whole family I was a lineman. They didn't know that. Yeah, I did. It was bad. So week 2, they basically told me, the instructor, he said, listen, I've been watching you. I've been looking at you, but your legs not made to climb wooden poles. No, that's what they told me. They tell you anything in life, right? I guess because my legs had a bow, and I don't know what that meant, right? So basically, they kicked me out the climbing school. They said, we not gonna watch you kill yourself out here. But they didn't know I knew this guy. So I called Dwight, right here, same property.
That's a hack.
He came from over there in a small bucket, and he told them, I don't know what he told them, but he said, you good, come back next week. He said, come back next week. Dwight gave me his climbers, his personal climbers, and his boots. When I came back, I was the best climber in the squad. Green was actually like probably number 1 or 2 in climbing. I went past him. But
They kicked me out of climbing school, and this guy with his power said, nah. But they really wasn't trying to teach me either, because all they had to do was you had twisted offsets. They had me climbing with straight. They wasn't even doing their job. But I appreciate you, brother. You know my loyalty always been with you over the years. And we talk a lot too about music. Yeah. He's you know I'm an old soul, right? I always call him about Motown. I got a tattoo with David Ruffin right here. Right. This deep, like I'm really old soul with music, so we talk a lot. And this is my guy. I love you, man. I appreciate it, man. But I would have never been hired if I would have just took that defeat and left. But Dwight, he told him I'm not going nowhere. So great story. You hear y'all.
Mel Jackson, for those who don't know me.
Oh, that's Mel? Oh, man.
Y'all know Dwight. He used to talk about going hunting all the time and this and that. I had no interest in hunting, but I finally had a chance to go. I finally went hunting. And I hated it. It was awful. It was awful.
You had a bad instructor.
I did. I sat in the tree stand all day. Nothing. What a waste of time. That's what I said. Awful. Total waste of time. But I just wanted to say, Dwight, thank you. I learned a lot from you, just like a lot of us in here in the early days. I shared with somebody the other day that in the early days, I remember not wanting to go in the substation. Just, I'd go in the substation with both hands in my pockets, like too much going on in here. Because I didn't understand. Or it was because of understanding, not understanding, that I was so apprehensive about going. But I got with Dwight. So I went through one of the training classes, and that still really wasn't enough. I don't know if you remember, back in the day, we worked nights. And Dwight called me up, man, where you at? I said, man, I'm down here. And we'd meet up at, what's the name of that restaurant, 75th Street? Jumbo. We'd meet over there 2 or 3 in the morning eating shrimp and French fries. I said, man, this ain't gonna work for me. But I learned a whole lot from Dwight. I still hear your voice now. When I'm writing an order, when I'm doing something in the station, I can remember and I can hear some of the instructions you gave me years and years ago. So it stayed with me. So I appreciate you. I appreciate the man you've been all these years. I don't know how long you was the president of the local, but I know it was a long time, and I know you was the first black, right?
Yeah.
And just a trailblazer, man. Just, a lot of history. And I like to say, and I brought you a little something from the DCC. You can look at, open it later. But much love for you, brother.
All right.
And congratulations.
Together, this is a lot.
So, I am, on behalf of management, I'm going to share a gift with you, but before I do, I got a couple words for you.
Okay.
When I first met Dwight, I was in switching school, just like most PLs or up and coming people right here, and it was the way I saw it, right? Brand new, didn't really know what was going on, but the way I saw it was, you had the good cop and the bad cop, and Dwight, and for some reason when we were writing switching orders, I always go up to Ronnie. Ronnie was like, nope, wrong. And I'm like, man, you know what, man? But I was, for some reason, I was maybe scared to try to talk to you. But I'm like, you know what, man? Ronnie keeps on fading me, man. Let me go up to Dwight. And the first thing I said, hey, Dwight, can you help me? And the first thing he told me, my name's not Dwight, it's Dwight. And I'm always gonna remember that. I appreciate you always for helping me out, in switching school and all of that. You, honestly, with you and Rodney,
teaching switching. I mean, I'm pretty sure like half of, or more than half of everybody here, you know, learned everything because of you guys. So thank you for that. And on behalf of North Dade Management, we want to go ahead and present to you with this lamp. Okay, it's a small token of appreciation of what you did for North Dade and for everybody here. So we really appreciate everything you've done for us. All right, and again, happy retirement. I hope you enjoy it.
Can I tell a little story about Ted Cogdell?
I wasn't gonna tell that story. I'm gonna move.
Okay. All right. Ted Cogdell is one of my best friends from childhood. Long before we got to go to Northwestern. So one time we were going to Hutchinson Island. We were going to a meeting when we first met Scott Geller. And we were going to the meeting when we first met for
TSC.
total safety culture. So anyway, we left his house and we had an argument, and we argued all the way from Ted Cogdell's house all the way to Hutchinson Island. It was a 2-hour drive. And we argued all the way from Ted's house, all the way a 2-hour drive to Hutchinson Island.
Who won?
To this day, I don't know. And he doesn't know either. It was a good argument. But I can't tell you what it was about. And he can't tell you either. But I can tell you what one thing was about. When we got there, the clerk said one thing that really set me off.
There was worse than that.
Tell them what it was, Ted.
All right, I wasn't going to tell that story.
You got to tell it.
My grandma's wife worked for Ron Zaleski, and he was putting on he was in charge of the whole thing. So I didn't have a regular room. They gave me a villa, okay? On the ocean, I had a villa, 2-bedroom villa, just me. And so when I'm checking in, the man says, yes, Mr. Cogdell, we have your room. It's in the Spoonsville Villa. Well, Dwight thought he said Coonville. It was the white guy. Hold up, I know what came out. He said, hey, Coonville. The man said Spoonville. Well, you better tell me something. and this is the honest to God truth about that argument. I got in the truck at my house. I live on 5095. We almost missed the exit to the hotel. We pulled up in the driveway, we were still arguing. The only thing stopped there because we got out of the truck. And to this day, I talked to him 2 days ago. I said, do you remember what it was about? He went, nope. And I have no idea either. But Dwight and I did that all the time. All the time.
So y'all like 2 women fussing all the time.
That may, whatever you want to call it. Cause we would pick sides. We had a lot of those things.
When that guy said Coolville, I said, I'd take you, snap your head out. I said, I'll rip your head off and shove it up your blah, 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 blah. I'll kill you in it. So that didn't go off. That didn't go off very well.
Great things about Dwight, and they're all true. But the safety that you guys do here in the Northeast, what you guys have accomplished, Dwight was one of the guys that was most responsible for that, because when the company went to behavior-based safety, we was out front in that. He talked about Geller. That is the truth. What you guys have done, and a lot of people talk about me, but Dwight put together that thing. It was his lead, and his putting people in a place like Craig, myself, Alice, and all. That's what developed all of this. And they had to really fight to keep this going, because, trust me, the guys didn't like it, management didn't like it, but it was people like Dwight that was influenced enough to keep it going long enough to where it turned to what it is today. Okay, but believe me, he was one of the that was instrumental in behavior-based safety.
Cap
Okay?
two.
Yeah.
Cap two.
You may or may not know me. I'm Pinky. I made it.
Hey, Biggie.
I drove here from West Palm Beach because I couldn't miss the great retiring. Dwight played a major role in my career. I've been here since I was 16, so he was just like my dad, and he thought he was my dad for real. But I had to get a picture made of him that reflect him as I see him. Yeah.
That's nice. That's fine.
That's the Viking. Now I'm from New Orleans. I'm from New Orleans, so I'm already a Viking by heart. But as y'all can see with the stories that's being told, this man's a fighter. He fought for us the whole way through. He fought for the union and management to have a cohesive relationship. When Graham first got here, he helped them along. He coached them through on how to get along with us and how to make this a very well transition. I'm gonna give y'all a story about when we went to where Cliff at?
Right here.
When we went to Illinois, we in a car on the way to the convention center. This is us on the union mission, right? And we're on the way to the convention center. We're lost. And I'm like, Cliff, the GPS said go left. He said, don't listen to that B, listen to me. And I'm like, you talking about the GPS? Don't listen to her. I'm like, who is her? He's arguing with the GPS. So he's telling us he know the way. He took us 3 lefts and a right, and we finally made it. But that's Dwight. He gonna argue his way down, but he know what he's talking about 9 times out of 10. And even if he don't, he's still gonna argue his point. But Dwight was very transitional with my career. He got me involved in the union. I became a union steward, and I was on the E-board, and all of that was thanks to him, because he gave me the courage as a young person coming up. He held my hand. He told me that, you know, he don't care what they say. He don't care how young I am. I got the capability, and he always gave me the strength and courage. And he fought for everybody. If you were in the right, he fought for you. If you was in the wrong, he did not. And he let you know you was wrong. So I appreciate Dwight because he's very fair. He's so instrumental in my life. My kids know him. So thank you, Dwight.
I started my career back in '81 with Dwight. Nice to see some old faces here. A lot of you I don't recognize, but you know, it's nice to be back. Consider family. You guys were all great to work with. And this man instilled that in all of us, to be fair, just, and take care of our union brothers and our family. He's a very good family man. He always talked about his grandkids. His kids, not so much, but he talked about his and he, yeah. But if everybody just leaves here today with all the kind words that were spoken about him, there's not enough kind words for what this man has done. When we went to conferences all over the country together, when he walked into a room, it was like respect. People knew him from all over the country because it's an international conference, including Canada, Puerto Rico, everywhere. It was amazing how many people, how he just walked in and everybody knew him and everybody would ask questions. Well, how are they doing it? Because at the time, you know, FP&L was the leaders through the nation in the utility business, and they wanted to know what Dwight bought. He was like a magnet wherever he went. And if we could all just today, with everything that he's done, with the respect and fairness and his knowledge, that if we just all here today leave with half of that, consider yourself lucky and successful. And with that, I love you. And
thank you, Ray.
Many, many more years. And you're a phone call away.
Thank you.
Okay?
If y'all ain't seen enough or heard enough of me, as if. So I want to share a story, right? One afternoon storm, I was requested to go down to Central to help out. So I go down to Central, I get a call from Dwight. He's the yard dispatcher at the time, and he tells me about this ticket. Oh, several crews done been out there, Steve. They can't figure it out. I don't know what these guys doing. He's almost implying like they lazy, like they didn't try, right? So I get out there, and it's Benson and I, and as usual, I'm irking Benson's nerve because it's underground, and I'm going the extra mile with underground. So I go out there, the roads are flooded, there's fish on the road, in the street, swimming down the street, that's how flooded it is, and there's a doghouse there. So I'm looking in this doghouse trying to figure out how to get this power restored. I'm climbing on top of the transformer. I'm doing everything I can to figure out how to get this power back on. And I actually get it back on. And I realized in the after fact that this sucker set me up. I called him back and I said, I know you know what you did, right? You knew by telling me that other people couldn't get it done, that I was gonna do everything in my power to figure it out. And he admitted, he said, yeah, that's what I did to you. But again, I wanna recognize Dwight with his excellence. I remember when he came to the yard as a troubleman, and he insisted to the LJAC, you know what? We need to start having quizzes on switching in the meetings, in the safety meetings. So we started having quizzes because he wanted to make sure that people knew and understood their switching. So we did that. But it was always about excellence. I remember him being demanding. You know, Dwight didn't have much patience, and the way I thought about characterizing his patience was like this. If he asked you to do something, it was like, look, do it yes or no, because I got other things to do. Answer yes or no. I ain't got time to play with you. And I told my apprentices yesterday that you know, somebody asks you to step up, pull your pants up, or put on your big boy shoes. You know, you got no respect for that unless they've done it themselves. And that's something he's always done. So if a man tell you don't pull your big boy shoes and he ain't never done it, please don't tell me that. And that's what he's always done. Again, with integrity, with hard work, you just gotta admire and respect that. Thank you.
You want to look right here? Got one more. Pastor Freeman, he can hang on for a second. Pastor Freeman wants to say something.
Dang, grand like that.
I go back in Miami since 1930. I might not look it, but that's when I started out here. And when I first met Dwight, I'd come back and retired. Not really, but I was done at Homestead and back during the McDuffie riots when he first started working for FP&L. During that time, McDuffie riot, those of you who know it, Liberty City was on fire. And the conflict between us and them, whoever that is, everything was hostile. He came up during that time when we had a riot in 80. He was here when we had another riot 2 years later. And he just starting out had to endure that stuff. And that's when we met. and preaching for his grandma and all of those at church. And he was one when our lights were out at church. Whatever was happening, they didn't fix them. Dwight said, don't worry about it. I'll get them done. And he would see to it that we had lights when all the other transformers wasn't working. I don't know how he did it, but we had lights. And I'll just say this other one thing. Nobody talks about how good he can cook.
Yeah.
He knows how to barbecue. And when we would have the picnics for our kids, big parties once a year, Dwight would be out there barbecuing for our children. I want you to know he's a volunteer. He loved people. He loves children. And he would come out and volunteer for us and cook. Everybody ate up all of his chickens. And we couldn't figure out why his chickens taste better than all the others. And Dwight told me the secret. I don't know which one he used, which one was it, Schlitz, Budweiser. But whatever it was, he would put a can of beer right in the middle of the chicken and barbecue the chicken with the beer can in it. And that's what made it taste good. And we wouldn't have a picnic unless he was there.
Secret.
Love him. Care for him. And just love it. Everything they said about him, God bless him. I could talk all day, but I want to do it in 30 seconds, so I'm gone. We'll see him again. God bless you, man. Love you, man.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Craig Chamberlain out of Central Yard. And I just wanted to thank Dwight because he got me started in safety. And we did a lot of good stuff together with Ted and Alice and with Dwight. And all through the years, Graham, especially there at the beginning. And for 17 years, he supported me in that safety and everything that we were able to accomplish. And he's the one that got me started in it. He came up to me one day and said, I need one more person for my TSC committee, and you it. It was an offer I couldn't refuse. And but one of the best things I got to do with Dwight is, we were starting out with this safety. We're trying to change up how we did it. And so a lot of times we try to put a little entertainment with our safety message that we're trying to get across. So I came up to Dwight one day and said, hey, Dwight, I think I could get up and imitate you. And he looked at me and he kind of looked at me, he thought about it, and he said, well, if you think you can. And I said, yeah, I think I could do it. So I just want to share a quick story like that, that we did one time. And one of the things I always admired about Dwight was how he could talk to folks. I learned a lot from that. And how he picked his words, his approach, his tones, and he'd get his message across. And I always remember, so we were having I think it was a safety meeting or something like that, and so I got up there and Dwight gave me one of his hats and I got one of his shirts and got some chains and stuff, put it on there, and then I come walking out and I'd start something like this. I said, can I have your attention, please? Now I know what you're thinking. Which one is the real Dwight? This is Dwight. This is White Dwight. Not as good as the original, but this is the best I could do. Now, what Dwight would try to do when we had some new contract, he'd try to come out and tell you about the contract and especially the overtime, right? Now, there were some of us, not the sharpest crayons in the box, were trying to figure this out. On the other side, we had the sharp guys who are trying to figure out how they're going to take advantage of it. Dwight knew all that. So when he came out, he knew he was talking to both camps, right? So he'd come out and he'd say, Now, let's talk about the overtime. If you want the overtime, then take the overtime. If you don't want the overtime, then don't take the overtime. Now, let me give you an example. If you come out to the Cheeky and you want the chicken, you could have the chicken. If you want the ribs, you can have the ribs. If you want the ribs and the chicken, and it's your first rest day, you could have the chicken and the ribs. I don't care. But if it's your second rest day, all you could have is a hot dog. Now, I don't know if the folks, if he came out, he would always tell us stories too about things that happened to him, right? Now, I don't know if he came up here to Northwest and other places and told his stories, but there were two stories that stick out in my mind, and one of them was he was hunting and he was trying to get the sights right on his truck, and he ended up shooting his truck. And then the other one was he had a utility trailer, and the trailer came loose from his truck. So I took that and I kind of, fixed that story up a little bit more, and so it came out, and he said, now, you remember I told you about when I was hunting, I put my rifle on the back of my truck, and I was trying to get the sights right, and I wound up shooting my truck. What I didn't tell you is I got 2 deer with that same shot. I ain't lying. Now, I told you also that I had my personal utility trailer. I put it on the back of my truck, and somebody said, Dwight, you didn't put the chains on. Well, I was going to do that later because we were going down the road just a little ways. Well, later I forgot. And I was going down the road, and the trailer came loose of my truck. And I had to mentally guide it off the side of the road. I had to use my mental power to guide it off the side of the road. But it would have been better if I'd have used my mental powers to remember to put the chains on.
Oh, you're a funny guy, bro. Funny guy.
That's a true story. He said that.
So he had a lot of stories like that. He's always doing the safety with us. And so just to wind up, I've heard all these folks standing up here, and I want to tell you something, and that is I believe manhood is bestowed. And this man has done so much bestowing. And that is when a man will come alongside you or a woman and help you along and encourage you when you really need it. That's a man.
Time left. And y'all know how I come. This is how I come. We ain't gonna be able to do that. Motive already shaking his head. First of all, Motive came up here and took up all that damn time. Now he's trying to regulate on my time. I don't appreciate that.
Big soup.
But I did have a story about the trailer written down. I also had the one about the Christmas lights. You remember the Christmas lights?
Yeah.
You remember the Christmas lights, Dwight?
Oh yeah.
No need to tell the story, but it's similar to the trailer story. A couple of things. I met Dwight. He ain't gonna remember. I believe you should teach CPR. When I first met you, I ain't heard that today. I stepped foot on the property and they had this brother teaching CPR. And I said, look, I got a pretty good nurse. It's good stuff, you know? Not knowing who he was or what he was. All right? And then later, I got a job in Central Yard, right? And Dwight was there, Ron Selesky, Ron Deering, and this whole crew that he's been talking about. And the very first day, Dwight said to me, and the other person that said the same thing that Dwight said to me was Reen. Reen's not here today. But y'all know Reen, right? Reen pulled me aside and said, whatever you need. He had pulled me aside and said, whatever you need. Whatever you need. And through that, I learned this whole thing about company-union relationship. And in some ways, if to some people, that kind of hurt me a little bit. They started calling me a union sympathizer. Sympathizer is what they was calling me. And I only learned that later. What I thought I was learning was how to do this business. The partnership that's supposed to be there between the company and the union. That's what I thought I was learning. That's what I thought Ron Selesky was teaching me, and I thought Dwight Mattox was teaching me that, and Ron Deering, and the team that Dwight had put together. Right? And that's what I learned. When I went to West Dade, well, I got the opportunity to go over there. When I got over there, I was told I was shipped over there because I was a union sympathizer. Y'all believe that? Yeah. Weak as hell. Horrific. But true story. But a true story. White was the one that taught me about, for example, the union book. And I kept asking these questions about the union book. And sometimes I was asking the same question over and over again. Because it was difficult for me to get it. And then ultimately he started explaining to me the spirit behind the rulings that were in that book. And slowly but surely I began to learn not only what was in there, but what was behind it. And then really and truly later, when I went to West Dade, Wally helped me with that. This is Wally Lamb over here. Wally taught me some tough lessons too. But my genesis, my beginning, all came from Dwight. I can remember 2000, we had the big picnic at South Point Park. You remember that? Right? And that's where I learned how to, because I was a fledgling barbecuer too. My daughter knows I barbecue all the time. But back then, I was a fledgling barbecuer. And we had to barbecue for, I don't know, 500 people, 600, 700 people. So he taught me how to scale up. He taught me how to keep your meat hot. He taught me how to run the grill. I could do it for 10 people, but I couldn't do it for 150 people. I couldn't do it for 200 people. He taught me that. And he's taught me so many things about family and life. And our families have become merged over time. I have this thing in here. Let me show y'all something. Y'all know what that is?
DVD.
It's a CD. You know what this is, Daniel? You do know what that is? I had my doubts. But just as a story, so when I was in switching school, he won't remember. I was trying to explain it to him today. He had music in his truck, right? And he had some CDs, all right? So I'm sitting there listening to some of the CDs. And this is one of the CDs he had, right here. It's called Unfinished Business by the Blackbirds. Most of y'all don't have a fancy idea what that is. That's on you. I can help you with it. And the song was Unfinished Business. And what he didn't know is at the time, I had a younger brother that was playing music in these nightclubs and whatnot, and that is the song that they could play the best. It was Unfinished Business. When we walked in here, y'all don't know, but Benson was playing it. Benson was playing it. And I kept thinking about today and how it would unwind and what would happen, and his family would be here. And I thought about unfinished business versus finished business. Unfinished business versus finished business. And what I would like to say, as far as FPL is concerned and what he's done here, his business here is finished. Yeah. But when you look around at what sprouted from the seedlings he laid throughout the years, and it's just so powerful. And give you an example. So in 2011, under his leadership and tutelage, some of y'all know where I'm going with this is, before that, 2009-ish, 10-ish, becoming OSHA free was starting to be a big deal, but nobody could do it. You can make it a month and then so forth and so on. And in 2011, all of day 359, I don't know if you remember that, all of 359 went OSHA injury free. Y'all remember that? Yeah. Has it ever been done since? No. Hell no. It's very difficult to do. But under whose tutelage did that happen? Under his tutelage. Another thing I remember about Dwight, when Dwight came in as a union president, and most of y'all don't know, Ivan is gone now, but Ivan would have possibly remembered all of what was going on in Turkey Point. What was going on in Turkey Point? Turkey Point was a freaking mess. An absolute mess. And Dwight came on, and he began to fix a lot of problems that were going on in Turkey Point. These grievances that were lasting 10 and 20 and 30 and 40 years that was costing the company and the union not only a lot of money, but they can't get out of their own way because of these past grievances. And this man came in, and he began to start to settle some of them grievances. In a half a year's time, 9 months, he had pretty much cleared all those grievances and the ones on power delivery side. These are things that had been going on from time immemorial. Nobody was able to make that happen. He made that freaking happen. He made that freaking happen. And I go back to my beginnings at Central Yard and the way he poured into me. And Pinky's 100% right. And I used to be worse before I came here. But this is the man that taught me and showed me. I had others. He wasn't the only one. There was another one. There's plenty of other ones. He wasn't the only one. But he was the primary one. And he told me about family life and cooking. I never did none of that hunting. But he did take me out four-wheeling. I don't even know if Dwight remembers, but he took my son. Only couple of times I've been four-wheeling with my life is with Dwight. The only time I've been freshwater fishing, I've done some saltwater fishing, but never freshwater fishing except with Dwight. He's become a member of my family. Hopefully I'll become a member of his family. People have come up here and said they love him. I love him. Like I said, I had a lot of stuff in here to go through. I'm not going to go through that stuff. I was even thinking about when I came here that I was going to return Dwight his CD. But on further notice, he probably listens to no damn CDs anyway, so I'm going to keep this. I'm going to keep this and go about my way. But everybody here knows how much I love Dwight, what I feel about Dwight, and our time will continue. I need to cut it short now because he needs to spend some time with his son to kind of close this thing out. Oh, the last thing I wanted to mention, because Mr. George White brought it to my attention, the United Way. Think of what we've accomplished in the United Way over this company, during this tenure and since. Now here's another realm, another faction to who's the primary mover and shaker. It's Dwight Mattox. Now you're talking about helping a large group of people funnel money into the community. I remember Joe, he brought those kids to North Dade. He brought a lot of folks down here, but he brought some kids to North Dade one day, girls, young boys that had been involved in freaking human trafficking. Kids that have been left back, left aside. Nobody's paying attention to them. But it's because people like him and people like Dwight, we were able to funnel a few dollars in that arena. But that's just another example of the many things he's done for the people that he's done it for.
And Graham, leadership giving. He brought the scale for leadership giving in North Dade. Oh, yeah.
I believe today, to this day, last thing I want to say. Dwight worked for a lot of people in a lot of yards. Don't be making fun of me. He worked for a lot of people in a lot of yards. When he talked about retiring, he said he wanted to retire from North Dade Yard. That is powerful. That is an honor. That is to which I am humble. I'm speechless. I don't have the words to say, but I really thank you for allowing this opportunity and bestowing this honor on this yard at this time. So I appreciate you, Dwight. You know I love you, man. It's gonna take us home.
Man, that's tough to follow with everything you guys said. There's some powerful stuff that was said today. When I'm around the building, I'm not out there in the field working, everybody knows I'm gonna try to crack a joke or whatever. So one of the things when people come up to me that said, "Oh, Dwight's your dad," the first thing I say is, "Well, that's what my mom told me." Because they say, "Mama's baby, daddy's maybe," right? So that's one of the things I always say. But all jokes aside, it's an honor, a real honor to have you as a father, as a leader, and as a mentor. It truly is. That's rough. But everybody talks about, you know, him teaching and the lessons and this stuff of this. You guys had him for 42 years. Some of you guys really didn't get to meet him. I had him for a full 40 years so far. And everything this guy did with life was a lesson. Whether he told you it was a lesson or not, a lot of that stuff, he kind of left it up to me to figure it out. And that's what kind of made me the man I am today. Dedication. I'm going to just give you guys some of the things I would say, and then I'll try to put a story behind it. Dedication. This man here is more dedicated to whatever it is that he was doing in life, whether it was his family, whether it was his job, whether it was the union. So much to, and my mom, my sister, my wife is here. He was in the hospital. He went in for a routine procedure. And the doctor came in, they sat all the family down, they said, Mr. Mattox, the procedure we're gonna do, we're not gonna be able to do. We're prepping the OR for you right now, and you need to have emergency open heart surgery. And we all paused for a minute. My dad didn't. He said, ain't no way in hell. I got shit to do tomorrow. The doctor said, Dwight, you might not live to see tomorrow. He said, well, I'm not doing the surgery. I got union commitments to do. And he was serious. And y'all know him when he says something, he is very, very serious about it. He didn't do that surgery. He left the hospital, and it was what, maybe 30, 45 days after, he got all his affairs in order. He handled all his company obligations, all his union obligations, all his president, assistant counsel. This man was dedicated. Very, very dedicated. When it comes to teaching, he was teaching me lessons as a child that I never understood. Oh, the union book, that was, people laugh, that was bedtime stories, was the union book. And all of my mom, my sisters, because he would have us with that union book, when he would have grievances and stuff, he'd tell my sister, get the typewriter, type this up. So we all knew about the process. And with that teaching with the union book, when I finally came to the property and I would ask him a question, I would say, Dad, what is this in the contract? He said, well, did you look for it? I said, no, you know the answer. He said, go in the book, look for it, find it, and if you don't find it, look again, and once you do find it, I'll help you interpret it. And I said, man, why the hell won't he just give me the answer? Why he making me go through all this? What he was teaching me was how to find stuff, and in the process, what I learned was looking for that, I wound up finding other things, and that was deep. He, you know, people that see me now and knew him from back in the day, my dad was one of the highest earners in FPL, and he said, they would always say, oh man, you had everything, you came in with a silver spoon, you had that FPL money. And it's crazy for me and my sisters to see the way he does the grandkids, because we never went without. We never went without. We had what we needed. And as a kid, man, I might say, Dad, I want the Jordans. I just said, I don't want no damn $100 shoes. Why you gonna get those shoes? He would not buy them. He didn't wear it. He didn't care about that. But now electronics, he always had the coolest and the newest electronics and stuff like that. And with that being said, that really drove me, even at a young age. I went and got a job early. He helped me start a lawn business. I used to cut some of the people's lawns in this room. Because I said, I'm going to get those shoes. But he said, he didn't want to just give us anything. He wanted us to earn it. And I never got that lesson until I became older. As a father, you showed me what it truly was to be a protector of your family. I'll give y'all a little story behind this. Y'all gonna think it's crazy. I don't know if you remember, we were sitting in front of Miracles, waiting on some conch fritters to be made. We sitting in the truck, listening to James Brown, and down the street comes these guys shooting. They in a full-on drive-by shooting, standing in the street. It's bullets flying everywhere. Guys come and hide behind the truck. My dad jumps out of his truck. He don't get down on the ground. He jumps out the truck, grabs his pistol. Y'all don't, he made all them people get from behind. Y'all ain't gonna draw no gunfire over here to my son. Get the hell from behind my truck. I said, man, that's what it is to be a protector of your family. He didn't worry about his safety that day. He was bringing all that danger away from me. As a provider for a family, I remember 1992 Hurricane Andrew. My dad came by the house and he said, I'm gonna be back. He didn't say when he was gonna be back, but he made sure the lights was turned on at the house, and I promise you, we didn't see him for 3 months. He was gone, and he was working. And he worked like that his entire career. He worked 16 hours, almost 7 days a week. I don't know how the hell he made it to our events, to my baseball games, but he was there.
We don't want to discuss it.
Yeah, we don't want to discuss
it. He was there. That's all he can say. He was there.
He was there.
How you make it to your kids' things?
He was there. What's that? Yeah, he did it.
How you make your kids' things?
Yeah. Man, just it's so hard to get all the words together for what he's done, because it's not enough that you could say. I can tell you for a fact that every person in this room, whether you know it or not, he has impacted your life and your career in some way, form, or fashion. With the rules, with the stuff with the contract, with the safety rules, with something. We all have what we have today because of this man. And I'm not saying that because he's my father. I'm saying it because I saw it each and every day of what you poured into this company, into the union, and I'm very, very grateful for it. Like I said, it was an honor to have you as a father, as a mentor, leader. If I could have chose somebody else, I wouldn't have. Well, you gotta go.
Oh, it's 3 o'clock. I don't get
That's how we put in overtime.
Okay, good.
You work overtime or you don't work overtime?
Jesse about to have a heart attack back there. I'll try to wrap it up, but
rack him up.
No, let Jesse sweat.
Let him sweat a little bit.
Yeah,
And that's one of the other things, you know, when you guys talk about these relationships that he created with management and the union. That's what I try to do. And I came in with Jesse. I tell every supervisor when they first come in, even DeVita, I'm gonna help you out the first time. I'm gonna help you out the second time. On the third time, you're on your own. And I stick to that. Ain't that right, Jesse?
It's debatable. It's debatable.
Yep. You got something? No. Well, I want to say thank you for everything you did for us, for the union, and for Florida Power and Light. It's your time now to sit back. You pass over the
baton,
the torch, and I will not tarnish your name.
Make me proud.
The end.
Hey,
Group picture or no?